how to remove decking. I'm gonna unbuild this decking. I'm gonna save whatever bits of timber that can be saved and scrap the rest, obviously. You can see it's got a few holes in it, so let's have a wee look at the tools we're gonna need. So sledgehammer and a pickaxe, and got the ox demolition tools here, and a saw possibly might be needed, and obviously your safety gear, gloves, eye protection. Here's the first viewer.
That's the first viewer.
He's the first viewer indeed. So first go with the crowbar. So obviously you can see it's quite rotted here. It's a bit slippy and trippy as well. Actually it being rotted has made it a wee bit harder to get going. But just take it from one end and just keep working. You'll find once you get one off, the rest should get a bit looser. At this point I'm able just to prise the crowbar in and pop it up the nail bar and just get it wedged up. So I'm just going to stack everything over the wee rail here, just to keep it out of the way and try and keep the work area as clear as possible for the time being. So onto the second strip. It's not giving a big lot of resistance, but I'm going to show you is basically the whole lot, right down to the taking away the foundation parts of this and everything, the underneath. Well, it's definitely been here a long time. I would imagine this decking, and looks like it would have been a real good job when it was fresh and new. I've done a few things later on I'll show you that surprised me that worked and worked so well. But you can see that the nail bar is working brilliantly. This big racking bar, making short enough work of it. So you can obviously use both ends, whatever one's making life easier. I'm just using the straighter edge to pry it, and then I was using the hook to get it completely on. So the stacking was obviously screwed down, but you can't see the screws anymore. And the screws were more likely sunk in anyway, so you probably wouldn't really have been able to see them even when they're fresh. So I'm trying to keep the rail to my left here. I'm trying to keep it so I am, obviously, so I don't want to damage it too much. But obviously this stacking runs underneath it, so I'll have to be gentle in certain areas as well. So what I'm also using the board that's behind to help it pry it up as well. But I'll show you later on that you can take it from the other way as well if you want. And sometimes jobs like this just is a wee bit of determination and just sticking with it and just keep going until you get it done. So coming a bit of a pain here, so we've just knocked that rail back a wee bit. I'll have to re-screw that later on. But so getting the hammer in action as well. If you can't just prise it in, you will have to beat it down and prise it up. you can see. So you can use both ends of the bar. And again, using the board that's still down to help raise it up as well. This also works very good if you do have a pickaxe. Pickaxe works very well as well. Pulled one up before with a pickaxe. Pickaxe also will make short work of it. As you can see. So pickaxe or crowbar both work just as good. I'm going to show you what I talked about earlier. So you can take it from up from both ways. You can also go this road onto the joist. Obviously you will need to get it onto a joist to give yourself the resistance to pull the screws through, like so. Just lost my ox label, which I was too lazy just to cut off. This isn't my preferred way, but I just thought that it would show you that it can be done that way too. But you do have to find a joist every time to give yourself the support to wedge it up. You can see this is probably the slower way to go, but it depends on the shape of the decking and stuff. Your options, what you do have. But you can give it a go both ways and see how you feel. Some of you might feel that this is more preferred, but to me it's a lot slower. So, but I thought definitely worth showing for the demo that can be done, but the other way definitely is a better way of going about it. So getting on well. There's probably also, if you look, it's getting a bit awkward now at the end. But if you do look, there's weed control down, which works surprisingly well. This decking has never had weeds on it that I can remember. So that definitely did do a good job on stopping weeds coming up. But then I don't know if it contributed to help the rot, because obviously the sheeting may have held a little bit more moisture, but the stuff is designed to let water run through and stop weeds growing up through it. So if you are building one or thinking of building one, that might be worth thinking about putting down. I have to really watch my footing where I'm walking. So obviously some of these did give a bit of resistance, but not too much resistance. A couple of them will be salvageable. Just for gonna go around the bottoms and tack a few of them on later on. So obviously this method will work better when your back's up against the wall. You give yourself a bit more room across the joists. But like I said, it's jobs like this, just sometimes you just have to stick at it, keep going, and you will get there. The end will come. It's just a matter of a bit of patience, a bit of hard work, and just sticking to it. No cameramen were hurt with that movement, or maybe they were. Oops. So yeah, if you have a mate helping you, just watch where you're swinging the timbers, especially these timbers of nails and screws sticking out of them. So it's always nice to be pulling up the last couple of pieces. A wee bit of satisfaction in it, a bit of an achievement, as you can see. So I'll just use two boards to walk on as well. Might be worth a thought, so you aren't walking. This is probably most stacking if you're ripping it down. If it doesn't have this weed control, will just be muck underneath, and soil, probably rubble and everything as well, just fired in there whenever the gardeners or the garden people were doing the work. So definitely come to an end here, the last wee piece. Which is putting up a bit of a fight anyway. I don't know. So once you get that done, guys, you're gonna want to do maybe a bit of a quick tidy up, bit of an organize, and like I said, whether or not if your wagon has this kind of weed control on it, you will be needing to sort that out as well before you start looking to take the rest of it apart, as this is all on a structure. It's actually built pretty decent again. I did say that earlier, but I do think this was built very well. I'm going to show you the way it was built here in the next clip as well. The way this frame was built was actually must have been done by a proper joiner, where they built the frame and then fixed it to the posts. But I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get to that stage. And if you don't like creepy crawlies or spiders, this might not be the job for you. So just a bit of a heads up. That we first viewer, that Robin, he was clearly waiting for a bit of snacks. He probably heard the metal dinging about. Probably knew there's going to be something being knocked about for him to get his wee beak onto. So obviously this is screwed down as well, so we just need to rip it up. And you can see the timber work joists here now, the way they're sort of slightly built. But yeah, just rolling this stuff up out of the road. It's not the hardest job to do. Just trying to keep some of the stuff on it as well. Not that it matters. Looks more like compost anyway than anything else. But just a wee quick, if you just want to have a wee quick look at the timbers now. So there must have been a frame built and slid down into place and then fitted to the fence and to the posts. There's some posts going down into the ground, and if you're removing decking, your posts could well be concreted in. So they will take a bit of digging and a bit of battering with a sledge and a pick, and possibly can go to break a bit of the concrete and stuff as well. But you know, every job's going to be different. But how I know how this was built and brought in here is that it's supporting timbers, the ones that are just at the bottom there holding it up. They are actually screwed from underneath, so that flat one running along is screwed and fitted from underneath. So that's how I know it was built and set down into place, and then it would have been leveled up and screwed off then. So again, takes a bit of working out to do a job like that, bit of skill. As you can see, here's these posts, stakes, whatever you want to call them. They would be the foundation posts. Oh, and there's another viewer. So they would be the foundations that it's fitted to, and that'll stop it sagging, that'll support it all. But luckily for me, mine were not concreted in, which I was slightly grateful for, because concrete will be taking a lot more punishment to remove the posts. So just wanted to show the wee nail bar here. and the big nail bar, just pulling out a few screws. It's not too bad. Think it broke a couple there as well. You can see how rotted some of these timbers are as well. Just went straight through one. So sledge coming in good for just knocking these apart. So that's where I figured out that it was screwed from underneath. You can see the way it's breaking up. And it wasn't screwed side to side, so it wasn't angled in, it was definitely built. Screw just comes straight up underneath. Possibly if it was screwed side to side it'd be much stronger. So this is where you get to have a bit of fun and a bit of racking. You see that I decided to start hitting that joist down the ways to loosen up all the screws that are holding as well. Most times the screws are breaking when I give it a good hit anyway, as you can see. So some of these timbers are actually still okay. Possibly have a wee project I might use them for. A couple of them anyway. Doing a couple of wee things, couple of wee how-to videos, wee demos. Couple of interesting things actually in mind. So definitely might do it. And you can see that the tools that were brought to this job, that the way they've been used, all different tools for different things. Sledge is great for this stage of the game, but you can see how the crowbar, it did the most of the demolition, and the nail bar, everything comes into play. It's always better to have a few extra tools around in case something else might just work in handy. But again, some of the wood is really rotted too. But I like the colour of the ox. I said that before. You can see it laying there in amongst the dirt and the debris, and it sticks out a mile. That blue colour, same as the stage hammer, the yellow. I like tools that you can set them down amongst rubble and you find it again. The likes of a cheaper hammer, which would just be black. If you set that down there, you could spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes looking for it again. Where them tools just stick out a mile there. But this is the area more or less cleared. It's looking a lot better actually, if I do say so myself. So obviously just have a few timbers to take off along the fence, which are pretty rotted. Not sure that was a complete great idea of a design, because the water will just sit there. It might have been better if they had just used maybe a couple of buttons and then maybe built off them like a wee bridger, so that there's a bit of a gap for the water not to also sit against the fence, because the fence is a bit weakened from it. Again, this is what I was saying about better to have a few extra tools. This is also screwed from the other end, which is making it a bit more difficult, I think, anyway. Where if it had been screwed from my end, I think it would have just pulled straight out. But man, I tend to find when something's really stiff and tight like that if you can get a couple of sort of chisels, or what I'm using the nail bar here to pry it in all different areas and wedge it out, that you will eventually get there. And like I said, sometimes jobs like this are just perseverance. So obviously if you're watching this, you're thinking about pulling the decking away, and I hopefully this is showing you what they expect, what you might come up against, and how to even start and go about it. So again, sometimes you get a wee bit of satisfaction when you get to the end, you get the last piece off. And yes, I could be a bit more heavy-handed and maybe get this off quicker, but I would risk breaking the fence, so I was definitely trying to take my time, not to bust the fence panels and make the job bigger than it needs to be. So sometimes taking your time and thinking about something before you just jump the gun will save you a bit of time later on, and the fact that if you do just rush on and break something that you didn't want to break, then it's another repair job you gotta do. So I'm just gonna have to fill them holes in, of course, in case some kid trips over them. So that's pretty much this one. So there will be more, definitely will be more. And like I said, if you don't like creepy crawlies, maybe better get somebody else to do this job for you. In all the comments.